And this
Mm.
is called Am I the Asshole for Not Sharing My Inheritance with the Rest of My Family? And she used family in quotation marks. So,
Woo, I'm looking forward to this.
all right. My family situation is messy. I, 25 female, was engaged 4 years ago to my high school sweetheart. My fiance cheated on me with my sister, 28 female. We had never had a good relationship even as kids. So after I found out, I went scorched earth for both of them. She was so in love with my fiance, but he dumped her within 2 weeks and was back trying to get with me to forgive him. I didn't.
Oh my
My
God.
parents were initially on my side, but my sister had a nervous breakdown after she was dumped and was hospitalized, so they changed their tune to "It's over now and you can't be mad forever." So I dumped them too and went to grad school on the other side of the country. I'm for it. I'm for it.
Because as far as I'm concerned, this letter is 10 for 10. Let's get it. I am on
Okay.
her side.
My grandfather was livid with the whole thing, disowned my sister, and chewed out my parents. Sometimes it felt
Mm,
like he was the only one who was on my side and understood. I was able to get
mm.
my job to let me work remotely and moved back to take care of him when he got sick last fall, and I was devastated when he passed away a couple of months ago. I had been in limited contact with my parents since I came back, mostly because I didn't want to be an obstacle to my dad seeing my grandfather, but with the understanding that any discussion of my sister or what happened would end that. It turns out that my grandfather left me virtually everything. He left enough for my father to cover a debt and some token stuff for a couple of other relatives. But he wrote a letter for everyone and did a videotape with his attorney explaining what his intentions were. I knew
I
that
know
he
that's
had done
right.
well for himself, but he lived a pretty simple lifestyle, so I didn't realize how much money and assets he really had. I would give it all up to have my pawpaw back, but even after taxes, it is set for life money. My parents are pretty mad about it. One of the reasons stated for cutting them out was how disappointed my grandfather was with how they had treated me growing up versus my sister and over the fiance debacle. There were other reasons, but that's what they fixated on. The will is pretty airtight apparently, so my parents want me to do the right thing and share it equally between them and my
Mm-mm.
sister. Their argument is that I don't need it. I make more than both of them combined, and this would allow them to retire. My sister is not doing great and can't hold a job, so this would ensure she has something for when my parents pass. I don't want to. My grandfather's wishes were crystal clear, and also I kind of don't feel like doing more than the minimum for any of them. They've been telling me that I'm being vindictive because of a mistake years ago. I can't deny there might be a little vindictiveness there. I don't want them to suffer necessarily, but I also don't feel they deserve my help.
Okay. There's no updates or anything.
Not that I can know. No.
Okay. So this is how I'm gonna break this down. Um Homegirl, I was on your side 110% until the very end. Until the very end. And I'm gonna tell you why. I while I appreciate that you are essentially the sole inheritor of your grandfather's assets and so forth, I don't 100% understand why you are taking, because it is kind of revenge or vengeance out on your parents,
Mm-hmm.
because I can, stepping back from the situation itself, because you can't blame your parents for what your sister and your fiance did, because I'm hearing a lot of fire and a lot of consequences for your family, but I'm not hearing a lot of consequences for your fiance. I mean, he's not necessarily involved in this situation, because he's not entitled to any of the inheritance. But I feel like you got a lot of smoke for your parents, where I don't think is necessarily warranted, only because, of course, this is your parents are going to stick up for their sick child. Like, if she's in the
Mm-hmm.
hospital, if she's having a mental breakdown, obviously something is wrong. Like, for her to be admitted to a psychiatric facility means that something is actually going on. They're not just letting people in there willy nilly.
Yeah.
So I can see where they're like, all right, girl, we get it, but don't come in here with that rah rah stuff, for your
Yeah.
sister at this moment because, she's mentally fragile, and
Right.
at the end of the day, that's still a child,
Right. Right.
whether you feel like they favored her or not, because that sounds like something you need to work out in therapy, to be honest. That
Right.
don't have nothing to do with nobody but you, your parents, and a therapist. I don't think that should necessarily result in you because you're using the money as a get back. Like, you're using the money as a way of punishing your parents. But I feel like the punishment don't necessarily fit the crime, you know,
Right.
to me.
Well, she did say this in the comments. She said it would have been best if they had told me your sister had a breakdown, but it's not your fault or problem. You don't have to see her or talk to her. You're hurt just as badly, and we need to take care of both of you. But that doesn't mean you have to forgive anyone or deal with her. We'll deal with it and find a way to keep things separate. Instead, I got, yeah, it sucks, but it's been 2 weeks. Your sister is suicidal and he hurt you both. So get over it, forgive her, and move on. Don't be selfish. She's family and you can't be mad at her forever. They could have kept a relationship with both of us. It was just too much trouble for them to put forth even a little bit of effort to respect my needs and feelings in the situation.
But that's not what they said, though. That's how she perceived it.
Right.
Even in her own words, the way she set that last part up, she didn't say
Mm-hmm.
that's what they said. They
She
essentially
says,
said.
yeah.
So that's how you perceived it, and I don't think it's fair for you to project that because your parents probably said, we need to put this to the side because your sister is going through something, and you
Right.
read all of that stuff into that. And while there may be some truth to it, they're not going to perceive it the same way that you do. And just like you said, that they could have said all of those things to affirm your feelings,
Mm-hmm.
you could have said those same things to them. You could have
Mm-hmm.
expressed that and been like, you know what? I ain't trying to hear that bullshit right now.
Right.
I'm hurt. She's in there because of something that she did to me. She is the root
Right.
cause of her own problems. And that's the way I'm seeing it. So that's why I can't really feel for her like that, because you're expecting something from your parents that you've never gotten, and as far as you told us, you never communicated to them. So instead of communicating that to them and seeking the results, um or working towards the results that you're seeking, you're using the money that your grandfather gave you based on, a moment in time. Cause girl, to be honest, you got lucky. You got lucky that your parents fucked up at the finish line as far as your grandfather was concerned, and he took your side
Mm-hmm.
because he lived his whole life, and as far as that will was concerned, they were in the will
Mm-hmm.
until the last minute when you got everything because of the situation. So they
Well,
were in his good
possibly.
graces,
Well, he
possibly. But
did
I,
say, but he did say, like, while the fiance debacle was one of them, he also said the way they treated one sister versus the other, like in general, I guess growing
mm-hmm,
up wise, that was another factor. So the parents might not have
mm.
ever been in the will because of how he saw them parenting one child versus another. But I will
But I would
say,
assume that they were, because he specifically mentioned this situation. It seemed like this situation was the straw that broke the camel's back for him.
right. And it could have been. I, I will say personally, like, you know, while I understand all that, I understand, what you're saying with the response because, like you said, the sister is still their child. They still have to. The root of this, though, is that they want money that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't given to them. And so
Mm.
when you talk about the roots of it, you know, I don't think I would be, especially since he just passed, you know, I wouldn't be thinking about trying to make decisions about, you know, if I'm having, especially if I don't have good relationship right now, I probably wouldn't be thinking about, oh, okay, let's split this, all this money. No, I would probably be like, I will help cover her medical expenses. I will help you with whatever
Mm.
debt you guys have. But you
Mm.
feeling like you're entitled to something when his last wishes were that you were not. I don't think you're an asshole for not wanting to immediately just divide everything up,
Yeah,
and give them what they want when,
I
you know,
agree.
he didn't want that. So
I
in that
agree.
case, in that case, that's why I'm like, yeah, you're not the asshole in that case, because when it comes to money,
Mm.
that's the first thing that your family's going to ask for. They're going to see, they see that you have
Yeah.
all this money, and regardless of what you do for your job or you're doing, you know, uh, the fact that they're essentially demanding that you do this, you do the right thing, and you give them
Yeah.
all, you split it and share it with them like that.
Yeah.
You're not entitled to it either. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he could have very well just been like, you know what, this is all going to charity. This is all going to, you know, this isn't going to. He didn't have to leave any of y'all anything. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the entitlement for me that you think you get to have this.
And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm with you on that same wavelength, but I think where we deviate is I don't think the sister deserves shit because the sister is on the
Yeah,
same playing field as you, right?
yeah,
But I feel like you're like stepping away from what your parents feel like they're entitled to, stepping
yeah,
away from that. I think that she's punishing them for taking the sister's
yeah.
side when
Side.
I don't think that they necessarily took her side. I
Yeah,
think
I agree with you.
they're just looking at it from a perspective of, you know, this is still our child and our child is going through something and we don't want our child to get worse and
Mm-hmm.
our child to, you know, commit suicide
Yeah.
or anything, you know, irrational, like which we understand that this is a very sensitive topic, but now this has evolved past that to involve
Mm-hmm.
us keeping our child alive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I make that's where the differentiation is for me.
No, I feel you on
You
that.
know, I don't think she
Now that
should punish her parents for that.
yeah, now that when you've explained it that way, like, yeah, I agree with you on that. I think she is probably punishing her parents for that, because let's be real, if her sister had
Yeah.
succeeded and killed herself, this would probably be a whole different story, you know.
Situation. You
It
know
would
what
be a
I'm saying?
situation, yes. But you know what?
Yeah.
If this has all happened within the last few weeks, she probably just needs more time to calm down, to let emotions
Hey,
settle. And
and
I
that's
think in the
exactly where
long
I'm. Yeah.
run, I think in the long run, you know, hopefully she'll be able to, when the anger has left a little bit, that she'll be able to see that
Hmm.
her parents weren't were just worried about their other child as well, because while she
Exactly.
was hurting, you know, this person was could have been dying, I guess,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
So I'm
And
with you on
don't
that,
give your
but I still
sister a
say
penny.
no.
Okay.
And
I'm not
I
saying give your
still
sister no
think
money.
right,
Don't give her a dime.
right.
Okay. Give your
So I
parents
still say you're
some
not the
money because they
asshole.
ain't do nothing wrong.
Right.
But don't give your sister a goddamn copper penny.
Right.
Don't give her nothing
You
because
know,
she deserved
like
to be punished.
if it was me, I would probably just maybe help out medical wise, but I don't think I'm going to be setting her up for
Yeah.
a life of
Yeah.
luxury, because
Yeah. Yeah.
once she's out of the hospital and she's
That's your
on the men,
business.
then I'm pissed at you again. Okay, you're good.
Yep.
Don't talk to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. If I can help you not be in medical debt, I'll do that.
Right.
But if I can make sure that you don't see a penny of this money, oh, best believe that's gonna be my first priority.
Right.
My
It's
first
this
priority.
it would be a don't call me, I'll call you. Thanks.
Uh-huh. And I'm gonna make sure that we go on nice vacations, me and the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the family. And you know what? I'm gonna make sure that you're in the group chat, and we're gonna send you all the pictures. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be doing shots at the bar.
That's where the
Boy. Let me
pettiness
tell
comes
you
out.
something. Whoo! Let me tell you something.